Outside the Box review. Today we are looking at the NECA Terminator line T-800 Tech Noir version. Wasn't that a mouthful? Terminator is still one of my favorite movies of all time. Terminator 2 holding a very special place in my heart, but the original is still a fantastic movie. I was so excited to hear that NECA was expanding their Terminator license to the first movie. These figures just came out. The set was 3 figures in this wave, or if you can call it a wave. It had 2 figures from the original movie, which is this one, and an endoskeleton, which is slightly different than the one we've gotten in the past, and also a Terminator 2 T-1000 motorcycle cop figure. So it's not specifically a original Terminator line, it's just a general Terminator line, at least for the first 2 movies. This figure does not disappoint. It's very cool, very highly detailed. It's not a perfect figure. There definitely are some flaws with it, but we'll get into those as we go along. I still think it's very nice. You can see here I got him with his laser scope gun. Take that out of his hand. Really nicely detailed. It's a nice silver. It's got the scope. Scope's all detailed out. It would definitely, I think, be asking too much to get an LED at the end of that. I mean, it would just be a little bit insane. But it'd be kind of cool if they would have done something. I don't know, maybe even I almost would need to see light piping through the scope, because it's got this big back end. They could pick up that red and shine it through at the end. Still, really nice. Very well detailed. He also comes with his other gun, his Uzi 9mm. Yeah, okay. I'll try to refrain from bad Arnold impersonations here. It's nice. Once again, very highly detailed. It is kind of a flat, solid black color, which is a little unfortunate. I'm not a gun expert. I don't really know what this gun would look like in real life, or if it would be anything more than just black, but it's a little disappointing to see it just one plastic color. Still very nice. His other accessory beyond those 2 is a secondary hand, so you can swap it out with this fist here. Before we look too much more into that, let's take a look at the figure himself. The head sculpt is interesting, to say the least. I don't think it's a spot-on representation of Arnold, which is a little sad. I can't even tell you what it is that makes it not look right, and I think through the camera this is probably going to look just fine. But the shape of the head, I don't think it's quite right, especially like the jawline. The hair has a little bit of paint slop on it. I don't know well you could see it, but some of the flesh tone got onto the hair. And every single one at the store I saw had spots where paint was missing. You can see here there's like a little chunk. I don't even know if you can make that out on camera. There's a little dot where he's missing paint on his chin right here. He was the best of the bunch at the store I went to. They had 3, and all of them just looked like they had like acne scars or something. They kind of give him a 5 o'clock shadow, which is kind of neat. Moving down to the body, they got the 80s shirt, really well done. Pretty cool to see that. All the detail, all the little words or whatever the heck is written on that shirt. The jacket is very nicely detailed. You got the gold zipper here, you got a bunch of buttons coming down the side, all kinds of pockets and wrinkles. Of course, it's made from a softer rubber material. You got on the back, you have the studded leather sections and the elbow up here. Another zipper on the back of the collar. I love this. They actually included a real chain around his arm, and that just gives it a nice extra level of realism. Very cool. The sleeves, of course, are sculpted, as is usual for NECA, but very well done, very well detailed. It's not an obvious separation from the jacket at all. It really does look good. Hands are nicely detailed. They got the biker gloves, more studs on them. The pants are well done, the kind of cargo stuff. Then my girlfriend was commenting that it looks like he was basically spray painted into these. I mean, they're some tight pants. And then he has his biker, or whatever you want to call it, boots. Once again, really nicely detailed. Studs and chains and all that stuff. They definitely captured a lot of detail on this figure and a lot of what was in the movie. Things I never even noticed. Things that kind of surprised me they picked up on. This figure, I believe, is an entirely new sculpt from NECA. If it's anything like what we had with the Terminator 2 line, we'll be seeing this body multiple times. I was looking through their prototype images the other night. I know we're going to get a battle-damaged Terminator in this basic outfit, but with the opened up arm where he has all the stuff inside of it. Hopefully we'll get a head that looks completely fake for the eye removal scene. It'd be awesome to have a piece of that horrible effect right there. But I think they're going to reuse the lower torso later as well for the police station assault version, which is cool, and they'll give him the whole leather jacket and all that stuff. Speaking of leather jacket, let's bring in the Pescadero T-800 from the Terminator 2 line. They look pretty nice together, and definitely a different look. I think it will look really nice to have the Tech Noir and at the police assault in the middle, kind of as the changing point, and then the leather Arnold here. Because it was kind of like, yeah, the end of Terminator is where he kind of got that iconic look going. But I've always kind of preferred the Tech Noir version, honestly. For articulation, he has what's standard for these from NECA, the ball jointed neck, which can pop off, so I'm assuming later on we'll have plenty of extra heads that we can switch with on our displays, which I'm always happy to see. Ball jointed shoulders. It's not hindered by the coat, but it is slowed down a little bit by the coat. But I like that because the coat is very tight around these joints to make it look better, I think. Bend at the elbow and swivel. It's a little hindered by the puffiness of the coat, so you don't get a whole lot of elbow bend, but it's enough. The ball joints in the hands I'm really happy with. They feel like they're almost better than the old ones. You get a lot more movement side to side, up and down with the ball, and then obviously the rotation. It's really cool when you're trying to pose them because you could really line that gun up just perfectly. We have the rotation in the waist and rotation at the boots. This figure proves my theory with the other Terminators as well, is that there are no cut joints anywhere else in the leg, because his pants basically stay intact until they're completely gone at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, I guess, but that just sounds disturbing anyway. So they're not going to need, like they did with the other Terminator, to take a knee joint out or anything like that. This is all just a solid piece. As I was talking about before, this hand will just pop off. And you can pop on the gun-wielding hand. And pop in the other gun, should you choose. Now, I went back and looked at the scene in the movie, the Tech Noir scene, and I don't think there's ever a point in the movie where he actually dual wields guns in this costume. I know the iconic thing is the dual wielding in the police station, and very excited to be able to have that pose for that figure when that comes out. But when watching the movie, it looked like he had the laser sighted pistol and was shot by Kyle Reese, dropped the laser pistol, and I don't know where he pulled the Uzi out of, but he just pulled it out of his back and started shooting with that. I don't think it's movie accurate. I didn't rewatch beyond that point, but I really don't think he ever dual wields his guns like this. But it is nice to have the option for display. I think I'm going to keep it like this for the beginning. While I just have this figure, I'll probably have him dual wielding, but once I get the police station escape, when that comes out, I'll probably put him back to just pick one of the two guns and have the other one being the dual-wielding Arnold. Overall, this figure is another fantastic offering from NECA. They continue to impress me the more they push the boundaries on their figures, and in all reality, more and more and more of my figure collection is becoming NECA-centric. I'm starting to pass up on a lot of other things in favor of getting the newest NECA figure because they're just that cool. And this is no exception. I'm going to definitely highly recommend him. I'm going to also highly recommend you take a look at the paint apps and the packaging to make sure yours doesn't have a bunch of chunks of paint taken out of the face. That's definitely a bummer to see when you get them home. Beyond that, the only other word of advice on this figure is, if your Toys R Us is anything like mine, you're going to want to walk a little further down the aisle than you might normally walk to get something like this. If you're anything like me, sometimes you go looking for figures and you kind of go on autopilot, like, I know it's going to be in this section of the store. And normally Toys R Us is that aisle that has the sports figures and the movie kind of figures. And I looked at the movie figure section, I was just not seeing it, and I was about to leave. And then for some reason I kind of wandered down by the sports figures, and lo and behold, underneath a bunch of basketball players, there was a bunch of Terminators. So definitely check out Beyond the Realms of Normality if you're not finding them in your store. This has been another Outside the Box review. Stay tuned for more to come.